Hi, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. Thank you so much for subscribing to Paper Pumpkin through me. I appreciate your loyalty and I want to continue to give you the best perks possible. But recently, the group that I've been with for several years, we make tutorials together, we bundle them, and we've been sending them out to our subscribers. Well, recently, one of those demonstrators' subscribers started pinning them on Pinterest, and so we kind of had to make changes, and I didn't really like the changes that were being made because I wanted to continue to give you things that you couldn't get out there. So I have disbanded from that group and I'm going to try some things on my own. One of those things is actually trying this video. I've put together some exclusive projects and I want to bring them to you in an exclusive video. So it's just for you, so please keep in mind that this bonus tutorial video is for my subscribers and members of my Stampers with Art community. So I kindly ask that you do not share the link. And today I'm going to share some alternate project ideas that I've created using the contents of the August 2018 kit titled Blissful Blooms. So let's get started. So my first thing that I'm going to show you is a card that was inspired by some mistakes that I made. I was stamping different colors on some scrap cardstock from the kit. This is done with Blackberry Bliss, this is with Melon Mambo stamped off, and this is Melon Mambo full ink. And I thought that this one would work really well with the thank you next to it. I thought that it would show up. And so I did a label with the thank you and some flowers surrounding it, and it still just kind of was hidden in there. The other colors, as you can see, by the way, this is the center of the flower, which also looks like a heart. This is done with the pineapple punch color, and then I used tuxedo black for the black colors. So after I stamped this piece, I tossed it aside and didn't even want to do anything with it until I looked at it again. And I thought, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that thank you, and I'm going to fussy cut around it and put it right on top. And now, as you can see, especially if I pop it up a bit, it's really going to stand out from the rest of those flowers. So we're going to use those two pieces. We're going to use a strip of silver foil paper because there's silver in the kit in some of the accents on the labels. We're going to use a little bit of the twine around this label to pop up the thank you a little bit higher and make it stand out. And we'll use some of these the white vellum leaves. So the base of the card is going to be done with Mossy Meadow. And when I pulled this out of my container, I realized, oh, that's not a half sheet of Mossy Meadow, but we're going to make it work. And that's when I brought in the silver. So let's go ahead and take our adhesive. Now you could use the adhesive that's in your kit, but I love to use my snail, as you know. So we're going to go ahead and just put some snail along this inside edge here, and then we'll lay this piece down and attach it so that just a little bit of the silver shows through on that edge. Okay, then we're going to take the twine, and this is the twine that comes in the kit. We're just going to wrap it around a couple times, and we will tie it on this little side here on the, you can either tie it in a bow, tie it in a knot, do an overhand knot with all the pieces, whatever feels best for you. It doesn't really matter. After we do that, and we've covered up that thank you, we can shift this a little bit so it's really off to the side there. Adjust it if we need to. When you adjust a bow, hold it in the middle and then pull on the ends. Okay, so now because we have this bump on the bottom, it's best to put that up on dimensionals. So let's grab those. So I've got the dimensionals on the back, and in order for this thank you to not be floating and moving around, we need to secure our twine down. So I'm just going to grab a glue dot or two and stick those behind the twine right underneath and really press that twine down so that it won't move around on us, okay? Then this piece can be put onto glue dots and stuck directly onto the twine. I like to use these glue dots. I just think that they're easier to access, especially if I'm showing people. So now we can go ahead and stick that down right on top of where our words were. Okay, so before we put this down, before we remove the backings of the dimensionals, then we want to add our leaves. And I think it's best if we add the leaves directly onto the cardstock. So you kind of eyeball where your piece is going to go, and then you press it down into that little mess of adhesive there. Let's do the same thing with this piece here. And remember not to go beyond the edge of your cardstock or it won't fit in an envelope. And now we can go ahead, peel the backings off. And I like to line up the edge of right here where those corners are. I like to line those corners up with the edge of the silver. I think it just looks really crisp that way. And then the last thing is to add a little bit of cardstock on the inside. And you can certainly go use any white cardstock, but after making a few other creations with my kit, I have a lot of half cards. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut off about 1 inch. So my width here is 3 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches tall. We'll set that aside, flip this over, put some snail adhesive or glue dots from your kit onto the back side, and then we'll just slip this right into the middle of the card. And now we have a wonderful thank you card ready to give to somebody. Let's do another card. This one here is going to be on black cardstock, and it's super simple. Now I gave a scrap card idea on my last video, the one that went public on YouTube. But this one, it's just another take on it. I love black. I think anything against black looks stunning. So let's go ahead and use that black ink again. Actually, you know what? Let's use the Blackberry Bliss because you don't need to buy all this stuff, right? Let's go ahead and use Blackberry Bliss and stamp down a sentiment onto this label right here. I like the thinking of you because you can really use this for any kind of occasion, you know, birthday or sympathy or, you know, missing you. There's so many reasons why you'd be thinking of someone to send them a card. We'll flip that over. We're going to add dimensionals on the back. And we'll add this to the card. You can add it high or low, but in this case, I think centering it is best. So we're just going to eyeball and center it like that. And seriously, just take your scraps. This is such a simple card. Okay, so put them together like this so that you can put adhesive all the way into the corners. Oops, got some on the paper there. And then just place one below and one above. And these were just scraps that I had. An instant card. Super simple, right? Okay, so a couple card ideas. Let's do another project. This is a project now, so it takes a little bit more brain power, okay? So on August 18th, I shared a Facebook Live video where I demonstrated a diagonal lid cube box. That's what I called it, really long name. It was a monster box. It was a little tiny box that looked like a monster, and I got inspired to make that from a swap that I received from Linda Bowen, who did a smaller version. So now we're going to make a really tiny version. So I enlarged Linda's box, and now I'm going to shrink it down so that you can see how to take a card that's already got a score line in it and create this tiny little diagonal lid cube box, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to cheat, I'm looking over at the side to see my directions of how to cut it. We're going to place it into our trimmer this way, and we're going to cut so that the side over here reaches 8 3/8. Okay, so we're cutting off 1/8 of an inch. Now we're going to turn it around and we're going to cut at 6 7/8. Okay, oh, 6 7/8 is here. So just before the 7-inch mark is your 6 7/8, and we're going to trim that. And now with the flowers positioned towards the top, we're going to trim the sides, and we're going to cut at 4 3/4 inches. And then we're going to turn it around and cut at 4 1/8 inch. So this is the size that we're going to work with, the base of the box. Let's take and score in at 1 3/8 of an inch. So here's the 1 3/8. We're going to do that on both short ends here. So 1 3/8. Flip it over and do 1 3/8 over here. And then we're going to continue on with the white end leading in. So 1 3/8. Move it to 2 3/4. And then 4 1/8 should actually already be there, hopefully. Oh, that one's coming up. Hang on a minute. 4 1/8 is right here. And, oh, I think, you know what it was? It was our last one. It was the one that we did second. That was a score line that was already in the card. So now you should have your 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines in there because you already did this end. Now we want to score in at 1 3/8 this way and 1 3/8 this way. So what you've done is you've taken this card and you've divided it into, and I think you can see it this way best, you've divided it into 15 squares that are 1 3/8 inch cube, or not cube, square, okay? All right, so on the front side here, we want our flowers to be the lid of the box. So we're going to start down here, and we're just going to trim in to the sides. 1, 2, 3 times. Don't do that last score line up here, okay? Ignore that one. Make sure you go right to that score line here, the one that's perpendicular to it. Rotate, do the same thing on this side. And you can do this with your trimmer if you don't feel like you have a steady hand. But this is a super small box, so hopefully it's not too hard to cut along those lines. And then on this end, we're going to cut this way. So we're coming in, I'm going to flip it over because it's very floral on that side. So, and you can bend your cardstock too to kind of see those lines better, and go ahead and cut here and cut here. And now we need to take and draw some diagonals. We want to go from the middle in to these corners out here. So you need a pencil and a straight edge, and you're just going to go ahead and connect again from there to here and from here to here. This is the cutest little box. You could put a Hershey's Kiss in it. You could put earrings in it. I don't know, an engagement ring could go in there. If you have a son or somebody that you know that wants to propose to somebody, this would be an adorable box for that. Okay, so now that we've got that, the last thing that we want to do is we want to miter. I've heard that saying before. I don't know if it's the right saying or not, but we want to just kind of snip in on these 2 outside squares to kind of remove some of the outer sections. Okay, keep the middle one nice and straight, but let's just kind of cut those at an angle. We need to put adhesive on. I'm going to stop the camera, get the adhesive all on there, and then I'm going to show you where it goes. Okay, I'm back. So I put tear and tape adhesive, this stuff here, on these 4 sections on the inside. And then on the outside of the box, I have them just on these 2 panels up here. Before we actually tape the box together, though, we are going to add some ribbon. And so I don't have an X-Acto knife, but this works just as well, and you want to have the piercing mat underneath. You're just going to slice into the score line like that. And you're going to do it right through the middle, a little over 3/8 of an inch. Oh, got a shadow in there, it's hard to see. And that will allow you to get some ribbon in there. We're going to be using the metallic edge ribbon. So it's going to insert into this slot here. Okay, so we just want to make sure it fits in there, and it will. All right, so that and one more thing before we actually assemble. We're going to stamp. We're going to stamp on the box. Okay, so we'll open up our Blackberry Bliss again. You don't have to stamp beforehand. The other version that I'm going to share with you, the one that I made beforehand so that I knew how to make this, has a little card that's inserted into it. But for this one, we're going to stamp right onto, oh boy, let's see here. Let's see if I can do this with the light here. I'm going to stamp right into that little spot. And we're angling it because the thank you is a little bit longer and we want that exclamation mark to be in there. So now that will be seen when the box gets opened. So now we have that task of removing all of these pieces of adhesive backings, and we're going to stick that box together. So I have been laughing because I realized after taking the backings off of all of these that it might be easier to actually put the ribbon through before the box is assembled. So we're going to go ahead and insert some ribbon here. I pulled up these little flaps so that our box doesn't stick down on our paper. So go ahead and just stick that through. And it's okay if you kind of unravel it when you're starting off because you're going to trim the end anyways. Come on, get in there. There we go. I should have used that new spatula tool. Okay, now we can, did I do a bow on that? Yes, I did. So we want to have enough for a bow. So we're going to trim the end, set that aside, and let's see if we can do a bow without sticking any of these flaps down onto our grid paper. Bow making. That would be a good thing to do in our video, in a future video, right? Learning bows. Okay, so I think I've adjusted it so that it's about the size I need. You don't want your bow to be too big or it'll come off the end or off the edge of your box. Your box is only going to be 1 3/8 inch cube, right? Okay, so now we can trim. Oh no! Okay, we got stuck to the grid paper. So again, don't do as I do there. Okay, so make sure that you are doing your bow before you're removing adhesive backings. Oh, let's trim that one after. Okay, so this is what you do. You're going to flip it over. You're going to pull up these two sides first. Then you're going to pull in the back and you're going to attach this panel to this panel here. Same thing on this side. That panel to that panel there. Okay? Then these come up and that goes to the back that way, and this one goes to the back this way. And it's okay that you're covering up the flowers. On my other one I did not cover up the flowers, but oh well. You have plenty of flowers up on top, okay? So you've got that done, and now we're going to do the cover. So you have to put the flap, the top flap down, and you have to bring in the sides first and have them overlap each other as evenly as possible. And then this one comes down on top of them. And then you can open it up. Look at that. It worked. Okay, now let's finish off this bow. Our poor bow. It got mangled. It got mangled. We're getting it. It's pre-recorded video, but I am not editing this. I am trying to make this as easy as possible for me so that I can share with you lots of ideas. I'm not going to be able to share with you as many ideas as I did with tutorials, but hopefully a quick video that's exclusive every time will be something that you'll enjoy. And on the inside it says thank you. Here's the other one that I made. This is pretty darn cute. So same thing, I was able to get the I was able to get the floral showing on both sides because I instead brought the front flaps back first and then the back flaps. And then I stuck a little card inside, and that says, "You make me so happy." So I could see this one being given to somebody who deserves a little treat or a gift of some sort that's super small. So those are my projects. I hope that you enjoyed them. We'll give you one more glance at those before we shut off the video. So there's that. All right, so thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure that you have access to all my other Paper Pumpkin project ideas and helpful resources. So I'm going to list them right now because I need you to subscribe and join. Seriously, there's so many things out there. Follow me on Pinterest. I'm pinning all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss when my videos get shown. Definitely subscribe to my website because stampyourartout.com. because I post other things there. I'm in a blog hop for Paper Pumpkin every month, and that doesn't get shown on YouTube. So you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed to my blog so that you find out when I'm posting about Paper Pumpkin. I also put the latest Paper Pumpkin news there. Subscribe to my newsletter. And if you're on Facebook, I need you to be a part of my Paper Pumpkin fan club. I started this group for you, my Paper Pumpkin subscribers and demonstrators in my team. And I know that still many of you don't even know of that group. It is amazing. Ideas are shared there every day from fellow subscribers, demonstrators, and non-demonstrators, and it's just amazing, all the sharing. You'll want to go there daily to get ideas and inspiration. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.